Hello and welcome to IRL FP here for round 3 at Monza, the Temple of Speed of course. Today I'm going to be your commentator, Kevin Harrison, and again I'm going to be on my own unfortunately. But with 16 drivers here, hopefully we'll see some good racing at least. As right now, people just getting on their out laps. Just going to try and see who's going to be first. I guess it's going to be a Mercedes. And is that Tim Brewster's? No, or actually it is going to be, or no, that's an Alpine. My bad. Where is that? That's Jared Fosbury, I guess then, yeah. So then, Jared Fosbury going to be the first one to set a lap, of course, in the Alpine. So, not the slowest car he could have got. So, going through turn 1 and a little bit deep, a lockup as well. Is he going to continue on or is he going to bail out a lap? I'm not sure. But it looks like he's going to continue on anyway. Although it's not going to be the best lap that he could have set. So now going through the second chicane, purple of course, as he's the first one to go through. And again a little bit of a lockup, so not doing too great. Maybe taking a bit cautiously as well. Doesn't seem too aggressive of course on the mediums right now as well. As he goes through the Lesmos and spins right round. Little bottle from Jared Fosbury. It didn't look like it was taking it too quick or was pushing too much, but he spun around there. And that's the end of his lap, so I'm looking now for Terry, I think I am. So that's Lewis Millam, who's going through Ascari now. For his sake, I hope he doesn't spin, as yeah, he doesn't, gets through Ascari fairly well, so he's now going to be the first one to set a lap, or I'm fairly sure he's going to be the first one to set a lap now. As through the final corner, a little bit off, had to maybe correct his car on entry a small bit, but he's going to be right up to the right hand side, and he's going to be crossing the line first, and to cross the line, and he's going to set a 21.4 of course on the mediums, and then I think it's going to be Tim straight after him at 21.7 on the softs, so not a great lap time from him. Is that Timer Azim next? No, that's not a Red Bull. I think Cameron Young did just cross over the line though, he did. I'll go on board with Cameron then, as a few more people set times. Rocco Walsh with the 23.5 on the mediums, and Jared Fosbury ends up setting a time anyway on the mediums as well. Of course a very slow lap time, didn't really get a chance to do a quick lap yet. As I think that was Ross Denham as well going across the line, or Edward Hurd, I'm not sure, but either way they're 3rd and 4th right now. As we continue on board with Cameron Young here in the Red Bull, I would be expecting him to be able to take the win today. Of course, would be looking at him as one of the quicker ones, and of course with the Red Bull, I mean, especially with the performance update, I'm fairly sure the Red Bull is the quickest car now, marginally over the Mercedes. So the Red Bull, of course, of Cameron Young is going to go through Ascari, but he's going to go too wide, and that's going to be the end of his lap. So Greenwood there doing a lap time recently. Dale Kelleher putting himself in 8th at 23.7. I think Lordy is starting a lap as well. Is there anyone close to the end? Sondre Sorog's at the start of his lap, and Dylan Day, here we go, is on a lap going through Ascari. As he exits nicely, no spin, he might be able to get a bit of slipstream from a car up ahead here. As I know they're going to be going through, so not close enough for any slipstream, but he continues on and goes right up on the curbing on the left hand side, and stays on the left hand side actually, doesn't cut to the inside, but he's actually going to go provisional pole position with the 20.7, and for his sake as well, he doesn't have a penalty this time carrying over. Someone who does though is Enrico Flameling, or at least I think that's how you say his name, in 12th in the other McLaren. He does have a penalty to serve, unfortunately for him. I did see Sondre though, he should be finishing up now, he's actually on invalid lap. Lordy should also be finishing up, he's not invalidated his lap in the Alfa Romeo right now, on the mediums as well, so probably not looking at much more than maybe an 8th or 9th, but through the final corner of course, as he's going to exit through, and we'll see how quickly he can go as across the line, and he's going to go 9th at the 23.2. And I think that's pretty much it now, as Fergus Wilson is going to be setting a lap soon, or at least he's going to be the next person to set a lap. As he's going through. So I'll take an opportunity to get the tweet out now. As we watch the Mercedes go through on its outlap, is that an Alpine? It is. Could it be? Oh, it's Jared. Oh, well then we're going to have to stay on board with Fergus Wilson if that car stays there. No, it's not going to. Oh, and round for the Mercedes as well. In this straight, as I just caught the end of it. There's an Alfa Romeo coming up behind him as well. And I think Dale Keller as well in the other Alpine. Or no, that's the Williams. The colours look very similar, not gonna lie. But given that, then they are actually putting themselves in front, or actually they're on laps right now, which I didn't notice. But I guess it's going to be around the final corner, unless this is an in-lap, which is also possible. But he's going to get some slipstream from the car in front, and he's going to improve on his time up into 10th. And now will Fergus Wilson be looking at setting a time or not? That remains to be seen. But is Mercedes, at least for today, in the other Merc, is going to be setting a time as he crosses the line now to begin his flying lap. And he's got some traffic on the right hand side, but I'm sure that'll keep out of the way, and that's a Williams there. So through turns 1 and 2, of course, for Tim Brustadens. Almost won the F2 race here in Italy just a few days ago, but unfortunately afterwards penalties got taken away, and ended up, I think it would be second in the end. But regardless, though, he's going purple in the first sector at least, as he's going to be going through the Lesmos now, as through the first Lesmo, and then the second one taken slightly slower, a little bit more of an angle on it as well, and a little bit more crucial as it exits onto this back straight, which propels you through to Ascari, of course. As through he goes now, and he's invalidated a little bit too early on the turn in for Tim, unfortunately, and he won't be able to challenge for pole on this occasion. Ross Denham and Edward Hart on the lap right now. Edward Hart a little bit more up the road, so we'll go on board with Edward then. As, of course, through the second chicane, and he's going to turn in too early and also invalidate his lap. So now I guess it's going to be to Ross Denham, who's going to go through the same chicane now. As of course he doesn't invalidate, so he's going to be able to continue on his way. And he's gone a little bit wide, which means that he's going to be probably going back to the pits, unfortunately for him. As Rocco Walsh seems to be on an in-lap, don't think he's not pushing. As then Sondre Sorog is actually finishing up a lap, so we'll see where Sondre can put himself in the AlphaTauri, and very strong. P3 was a 20.9, 3 tenths roughly off pole position. 3 2/10 is actually, now it's Enrico Flameling who takes provisional pole position ahead of Dylan Day, but of course Enrico does have that 10-second time penalty carrying over. That was 2 separate incidents that 5 seconds each, so 10 seconds overall, unfortunately for him. Now Timur Azim has also just finished up a lap, and he's improved by 1 position, I think I saw, as 5th up to 4th, a small improvement, 21.2 now that he's on in the Williams. So actually very strong lap time from Timer. Although I'm not sure how the Williams is. The Williams might be a midfield car now. As here's Matthew Walder about to cross the line, of course, in the Haas. And he's going to improve on his position as well. 1 up to 5th Unfortunately for him, not going to be able to snatch fourth. He was very close to timer though. And it looks like Ross Denham has gone out for his second lap here. So he's going to be finishing up his lap as through the final corner he's going to come. Currently in 8th on a 22.2. He's going to need a little bit of an improvement to be looking at anything higher, but he's going to actually come into the pits. And it looks like Edward Hart is also on the lap now, as doesn't look like he has too much ERS. I'm not sure if this is a proper lap or not. I guess we'll see by his driving as well. Hopping over the curb, and well, that's going to be the end of that lap. As Rocco Walsh giving a little bit of slipstream to, I think, yeah, that was Lordy. He's going to continue on his way through the first two corners, through the first chicane. Now around the Curva Grande, of course, approaching that second chicane. He's got the two Mercedes cars up ahead of him on track. I think, yep, one of them is Tim, as he skips over the curb there, launches him a little bit of airtime for Lordy in the Alfa Romeo. But through the first Lesmo, and then approaching the second one as Tim does get out of the way, as I'm surprised that wasn't an invalidation there, as he went a little bit wide. But he continues on his way, opening up DRS for the back straight, of course, and he's going to be approaching Ascari, and here we go. So, for his sake, he shouldn't be turning in too early, as he actually turns quite well for that, and gets through quite nicely, hopping over the curb, no spins at the exit. And now approaching the final corner, of course. And right up on the right, well, that's going to be an invalidation now, surely. It's actually not going to be. And he's going to improve up to 10th at 22.3. Really should have been invalidation, but I guess it wasn't. As just there as well, Dale Kelleher crossing the line, improving up to 9th, which actually drops Lordy down to 11th, which I don't think he'll be too unhappy about, because 11th is kind of where you want to be, especially when you're not looking at too high of a position. Of course, the Alfa Romeo not going to be looking at any pole contention. As now Tim Brusselens is going to be going for what is his third attempt, and it looks like it's going to be his third and final attempt, looking at the time. Of course, 3 minutes 20 left, as it didn't show up as purple as he crossed over the second sector line. But through Ascari now, approaching the parabolica of the final corner, and he's got the other Mercedes a little bit up ahead of him, who's or is that a Mercedes actually? Or he, maybe not. But Tim Brusselens, regardless, is going to be setting a lap. Now he's going to surely be improving, and he does 20.7. Not too far off pole position, but wasn't able to do it in the Mercedes. And the two McLarens locking out the front row. As, of course, in real life, they took a 1-2 in the race. But that, of course, remains to be seen. Not too bad for Tim, but certainly could have been better. As Dylan Day goes through the first chicane. He was lucky not to get quali banned, actually, because I know he was cutting corners in France, but no one actually reported it, so yeah. I think he knows he knows what's meant to be done, though, as he did take the escape road properly. Hopefully he knows it's what should be done anyway. As the other McLaren a little bit more behind. As is that Timer Azim? It is Timer Azim. Also on an outlap, but it's going to be Dylan Day, from what I can tell, to start. Unless Tim's going to be setting another lap. He is actually going to be attempting another lap across the line for Tim Brusselens, and it's a 20.2. Puts himself on provisional pole by quite some margin. Of course, those tyres are going to be 1 lap older than most people's, but he's put it on provisional pole. That's what he wanted, that's what he needed to do, and he's done that. Of course, it's up to the really people like the McLarens, and well, Cameron Young isn't going to be able to set a lap anymore. I guess Fergus Wilson maybe would be challenging as well, but round the final corner for Enrico Flameling now, or Flameling, maybe sounds a bit more correct. I'm not really sure, but across the line now he's going to be opening up the DRS. Of course, he's going to be looking for quite the improvement. Looks like about a 4/10 improvement, almost exactly a 4/10 improvement actually, that he's going to need to be properly challenging for this pole position. So through the first 2 turns, and he's going to be going around turn 3, Curva Grande. He's going to have to keep up right on the right hand side to minimize the amount of time that he's on the track, of course. Try and gain time that way. A few thousandths you can gain probably from doing that. And now through the second chicane, takes it fairly nicely, maybe a little bit off on the exit as he gets up on the grass as well, but he's going to be continuing on a little bit deep again, and he's up on the grass again. I don't think this is going to be an improvement, I should say, as he goes through. We'll see what the second sector split is going to say, as Tim Mercedes is now going to be getting out of the way. So across this second sector split, and he's 9/10 down, so he's not going to be improving, as Dylan Day was actually ahead of him on track somehow. I thought he was behind, but he's going to be crossing the line now. He improves to a 20.5, but not able to get much close to Tim, I should say. On pole position 3, still a 3/10 clear of anyone else. Now Sondre Sorg is going to be crossing the line. I think that's Timer Azim is going to be crossing the line in a few seconds. That's not Timer, that should be Dale Keller, I should say. But across the line for Sondre Sorg, what can he do as he gets across the line? He's not going to be able to improve on his position. That was actually Timer Azim crossing the line and finishing up in 5th. Matthew Walder has to settle for 6th. Lewis Millam, of course, in the AlphaTauri. Sondre Sorg finished 4th. What can Lewis do in the AlphaTauri? Puts it on provisional pole position by thousandths of a second, so right at the end. And now Fergus Wilson puts it in the 19s as well in the Mercedes. So Fergus Wilson now on provisional pole position. I can't see anyone challenging this at this point, as Timber Stalins is going to be going round, and so is Dale Keller, but he's not going to be improving. He's on invalid lap time. Lordy is going to be looking for an improvement. He's currently 13th with a 22.3. What can he do now as he crosses the line? He's going to put it in 10th place, a 22.2. Maybe not particularly what he would have wanted, as of course 11th would have been a lot nicer, as he would have got a free choice of tyre. But he puts it in 10th anyway. And then Timber Sain's going to be going into the pit lane. So then, the front row, of course, Fergus Wilson takes pole position ahead of Lewis Millam in the AlphaTauri, though. Very strong performance from Lewis Millam in the AlphaTauri. Couldn't quite get close to pole, but not really much you can do when there's a Mercedes on pole position, of course, getting into the 19s. So there you go, of course, confirmation that it is Fergus Wilson, I should say, about 6 tenths ahead of Lewis Millam. So Lewis is going to need a good start if he wants a challenge. Of course, Timber Stalins almost getting second, very close between them two. And then the 2 McLarens of Dylan Day and Enrico Flameling. Then Sondre Sorg in 6th, Tom Razim 7th, Matthew Alder in 8th, Ross Denham 9th, Lordy in 10th, and then Dale Keller in 11th, Rocco Walsh, Edward Hart, Jared Fosbury, Greenwood, and then Cameron Young not setting a time. As we just wait for everyone to get their strategies. I've seen... Oh, that's interesting. Or maybe not though, because he's on pole. I swear the tyre in Fergus Wilson's garage, that's Troppy Formula, just changed to medium, but I can't see how that would be possible realistically if that was what he was picking. But yeah, he's on the softs anyway. As Tim is kind of looks like an AI though. He gets back to where he should be anyway. So the predicted pit stop strategy then, soft medium. I would assume it's just going to be soft medium, although maybe some people would pit early for hards. Trying to get an undercut. I kind of expect Lewis Millen to take the win though, despite of course him being a little bit off. I feel like he could stay maybe in the DRS, because I mean, I feel like he's quicker than Fergus Wilson, although I'm not completely sure. If he can get a good start, he can certainly put himself where he needs to be anyway. And Timber Stains as well as round. That's Enrico Flameling in 5th, and well, a little bit of a bottle through the exit of Ascari on the formation. Absolutely not what you need. As everyone just warming up their tyres for the start. And is that Edward Hart? God, well, a little bit of a cluster really. Kind of expect this to go away, although it didn't. So 5 red lights for the Italian Grand Prix, and it's lights out and away we go very quickly. There's Lewis Millen, seems to have got a pretty good start. I think he's alongside Fergus Wilson as they go side by side into turn 1, as Fergus Wilson actually loses the lead slightly going through turn 1 as side by side they go, as Lewis Millen trying to squeeze him out there on the inside. There is of course outside for turn 2 for Fergus Wilson, is actually Fergus dropping some places here as Lewis Millen is going to take the lead of this race, but then Timber Salin's trying to make a move around the outside. I think he's going to be able to fend him off though, as he does, but again Timber Salin's trying to get a better exit there as they head into the Lesmos. Lewis Millen is going to retain the lead. Timber Salin's in 2nd, Dylan Day making his way up into a pretty nice P3, and Matthew Alder, of course, being Matthew Alder, up into 4th. Timer is him making 5th, but actually maybe not for long, as Saunders Rorg is in the slipstream. He's using ERS as well. He's looked to the outside, he's looked to the inside. Side by side is a little bit of contact there, as Saunders Rorg is going to have to back out of that. As in the background there as well, I think that's an Aston Martin. That's Edward Hart making a move on the Haas of Rocco Walsh there for 9th place, but again side by side between the two, as a little bit of front wing damage I think maybe up ahead as Rocco Walsh loses out, and the Red Bull of Cameron Young cutting through the field as he's already up to 10th, as he started down in 16th. As we see here Lewis Millen fighting with Timber Stains. It looks like Timber Stains made a move on the previous straight, but again they're going to actually be 3 wide maybe. Is Dylan Day trying to get involved in this as well? He's going to get squeezed out on the right hand side, and side by side between the two, Lewis Millen on the inside. Timber Stains of course hangs it around the outside, and he's going to retain the lead that he had And Lewis Millam trying to get this back though in the slipstream. No DRS in activation yet, of course. It's side by side. Once again, Timber Stadiums is going to have the inside line. I get the feeling it's going to be Timber Stadiums' corner. As Dylan Day trying to get involved in this as he gets squeezed out on the right hand side. And well, yeah, that's actually a position lost to Matthew Alder as well, as Dylan Day loses his position as he was trying to make a position for a second there a few moments ago. As Lewis Millam again a little bit wide, but Timber Stadiums looking in a fairly good position now. He's broken DRS as well, as these three continue to fight away for what is P2. Matthew Alder trying to close the gap to Lewis Millam, but of course that Ferrari engine not going to be helping him out too much. And of course the Haas as well, very the drag and the downforce very much not there in his favour, and Dylan Day is going to be very easily taking that position for P3. And around the final corner now, going through Parabolica, and Timber Stadiums actually loses out. Maybe he had a bad final corner, I'm not sure, but Cameron Young now sets the fastest lap of the race. You can see him in the background. He's now up to 8th place, but still they fight away for this lead. As you can see, Lewis Millam will probably be looking at a move into the second chicane, of course, of turn 4, as he's going to be closing surely. He's going to be in the slipstream as well, but I don't think he's going to be anywhere near close enough as they funnel through. But I get the feeling Cameron Young will be making a move soon. Of course, in the Red Bull, he's already made moves on half the field, as Enrico makes a move on Jared Fosbury for 9th place. Dale Culler, of course, in the Williams, looking for some points as he's currently in 12th, and Fergus Wilson just behind him as well. So he's maybe going to be having to look behind himself more than ahead at the moment, with that Mercedes right at the back of him. But up the front as well, though, looks like Lewis Millam now has been passed by Dylan Day, you can say. Going into the Parabolica, of course, Dylan Day making the move in that McLaren, of course, that Mercedes engine versus the Honda, and now Dylan Day is going to try and slingshot himself using that DRS now is in activation as he sets the fastest lap of the race. Timber Stadiums is going to have to defend Dylan Day, looking on the outside. Maybe he's going to switch to the inside. No, he's going to stick behind for the moment as Timber Stadiums continues to lead this race. And Lewis Millam actually looking at a move going through turns 1 and 2. I'm not sure where the move was on, but looks like he had a front wing alongside for a moment there as the front three continue to fight away, as Enrico is looking at a move. He's made a move now on Lordy for what it is 8th place. Jared Fosbury may be looking at a move as well, as he's going to think better of it and stay behind, as again these guys are going to be fighting away. As Lewis Millam now makes a move on Dylan Day. Didn't look like any move was going to be happening, but I think a move is going to be happening now as DRS open for Dylan Day. He's going to be in the slipstream. He's going to pull to the left hand side of the track side by side as they approach Ascari, and Dylan Day is going to make this move once again, and Timber Stadiums now is going to be able to pull a gap of over a second, as Ross Denham in last right now, as I think he's just after spinning. To Aston Martin's in 14th and 15th right now. And here we go then. You can see Fergus Wilson is in the slipstream, as I will switch back if I have to the fight for the lead, but the Mercedes is looking down the inside, and that's definitely an AI. So I don't think he's here. Maybe he lagged out of the session or something. As you can see, Cameron Young side by side with Sandra Zurog, the sister car, getting passed by, of course, the Red Bull. And Cameron Young now makes his way up into 5th, and you can start seeing the leaders. He's also crucially on the medium tires, so he could end up coming from last place. And well, now he's looking at maybe fighting for the lead in a few moments, as actually Dylan Day skips over the curb. Lewis Millam is going to say thank you very much. He looks down the inside of the Lesmo and makes it right before the corner as well, up into 2nd place once again. And once again, with that mistake, Timber Stadiums is going to be able to pull over a 1 second gap. But with the mistakes I think that Timber Stadiums must be making, as you know, he's broken DRS so many times and lost at the end. I get the feeling that it's not the last bit of DRS that 2nd place is going to have. as of course they approach lap 6 right now. As you can see, Cameron Young is going to be looking at a move on Matthew Walder in a few moments, and I don't think it's going to be all too difficult as he's in the slipstream. He's going to pull alongside the Haas, and he's going to be able to make this move actually before he even had DRS almost. As he opens up the DRS flap, Matthew Walder is going to try and fight back, but it seems a little bit of a lost cause, and Matthew Walder is going to lose out. Of course, Cameron Young up into 4th, not really much Matthew could do. And you can see the line speed difference as the Red Bull with no slipstream, or at least not right now, as Dylan Day still chasing down Lewis Millen. And you can see there again, Tim Brusselens is now, well, Lewis Millen is again in DRS range of Tim Brusselens, I should say. So yeah, you can see him losing the DRS quite frequently as Cameron Young gets a 3-second time penalty on lap 6, and not the best time to be getting a penalty this early in the race, as he tries to chase down the front 3. As Tim Brusselens now under a little bit of pressure from the AlphaTauri behind. You can see the AlphaTauri closing the gap without DRS right now, of course, as they go through Parabolica. Lewis Millen is going to take a little bit wider of a line. I don't think that was intentional. Now Dylan Day is actually going to be looking at a move on the AlphaTauri, I should say, as of course Cameron Young setting the fastest lap of the race on the mediums, and it's actually going to be a move for Lewis Millen on the inside of the Mercedes, and it looks like he's going to be able to make the move as a virtual safety car for I'm not sure what reason. Enrico is into the pits though, taking advantage of the virtual safety car, so we'll see what tyres he decides to go on, as it is mediums. So he'll be looking to go to the end, although it will be a little bit difficult, I think. As the race just gets neutralised a little bit, and Cameron Young will be given an opportunity to catch up to the front guys. As you can see, he's now in DRS range of Dylan Day. This penalty, it's looking like, won't necessarily make a difference to Cameron Young's finishing position if he can clear these guys quickly enough and start gapping them. Of course, you'll have the quicker tyres later on in the race as well. He's in a very good position for himself right now, despite the penalty. And Tim Brusselens now losing out a little bit to Lewis Millen. I did say he'd probably have the pace. I also said it would be over Fergus Wilson though, as Ross Denholm crashes out. I get the feeling that may have been intentional, as it looks like the right hand side. I can't really see why you'd be crashing on the right hand side there in turn 5, or at least the exit of turn 5. But Tim Brusselens under pressure from Dylan Day, as Dylan Day is going to be closing up once again, but he's not going to be closing up enough, as Enrico, running last right now, gets a penalty. And actually, is that a spin? Cameron Young, he was running 4th a few moments ago, but it seems like something's happened, as of course Sondre and Matthew Walder go through for 4th and 5th. Of course they are teammates, Thunder from down under. So looking like very good points right now, at least for the team. But I would assume that Cameron Young is going to be able to make the move on these two again soon, as is Dylan Day on Tim Brusselens, as he's in the slipstream. He's in the DRS, as there's a fight going on, or not a fight. I shouldn't switch to him because he is an AI. As the front 3 continue to battle away for the lead, Lewis Millen settling in a little bit to leading the race, as of course he still has the Mercedes of Tim Brusselens still in that DRS range, crucially for the German, of course, as he's going to be trying to close the gap to Lewis Millen. As you can see under braking as well, as actually Sondre Sorag and Cameron Young looking for a move on Matthew Walder as they go through, both of them, as now Cameron Young will be looking for a move on Sondre Sorag, but I don't think he's going to be close enough, of course, equal on the power unit, of course, both having that Honda engine, and Dylan Day looking a little bit closer to Timber Salients, but wasn't able to make anything happen of it. It's again that... Oh, it's full safety car for Enrico. Enrico Flameling has crashed. I cannot get an angle on it, or I don't think I can, unless I can do this. No, I can't. But he did crash at the exit of Parabolica. So the race will be neutralised, and Cameron Young now is in quite a bad position. Because of that safety car, he's going to most likely have to go on to hards. Or I guess a soft at the end, but either way, he's going to have to make another pit stop than everyone else, because softs will not go to the end from here. But you'll be seeing, yeah, pretty much everyone into the pit lane. Cameron Young also making his way into the pits. It'll be interesting to see if anyone stays out here, as Rocco Walsh is on the mediums. We'll see maybe if he is fancying his chances at staying out, as no, he's going to go into the pit lane. Laurie into the pit lane. I think everyone pretty much is going to be going in the pit lane, as no, actually, Dale Kelleher is going to stay out, and he's going to be looking to gain at least a few positions on some people, as he's going to be side by side with the Mercedes of Timber Salients, almost getting second, but he's put himself up into third. To be fair to him, hards going on for the front two. So did Cameron Young put on hards? He's put on softs. Now I'm sure if he'd known the front two would be on hards, that maybe he would have taken hards as well. But really that puts someone like Dylan Day in a nice position now. Of course, Cameron Young will be able to make the moves early on, though. So maybe if he could gap the field and the two hard runners stay at the front for a little at least, maybe he could make a second stop and challenge right at the end. But as the race gets neutralised now, of course, Lewis Millam leading the race ahead of a hungry Timber Salients, you can say. As of course, I'm sure losing out in F2 would be on his mind maybe a little bit as well. After Ross, of course, did get that penalty removed. So, yeah, I think I'll be looking for a win today, certainly. As, of course, Dale Keller is a little bit of an odd one out, because he's the only one in the field to not have pit yet. The rest of the field did come in on the last lap, and they're looking to go to the end. But into the... oh no, not into the pits, never mind. I think someone in the background may have went in. Someone has gone in. That's Rocco Walsh into the pit lane. He's currently on the softs, so I guess he's going to switch over to the mediums and go to the end, and surely Edward Hart is going to be doing the same. As of course they did start on the mediums, or I'm fairly sure they started on the mediums anyway. Yeah, back onto the mediums for both of them. As they should catch up, so I would assume the safety car is going to be in this lap. I see Aston Martin of Edward Hart should be catching up. as Lewis Millam's going to gap himself from the safety car as the green light is on there, so it is going to be in this lap. As you can see there, confirmation safety car in this lap. So it's going to be up to Lewis Millam when he wants to go, as the safety car is going to make its way into the pit lane. And he can take this all the way to the line if he wants to, and I would assume he will, because of course the run down to turn 1 is quite long and he doesn't want to give any more slipstream than he has to. But he is actually going now, as Tim Brusalian's, I think, maybe a little bit caught out, as he's losing ground a little bit to the AlphaTauri, as Dylan Day continues to be in third place. Dale Keller getting passed very quickly by Cameron Young there, as actually Dale Keller was in third, so he's really losing out positions very, very quickly, as Matthew Alder going through on the Williams as well, as already down to P6 from P3, as at the front as well. Dylan Day obviously making a move on Tim Brusalian's, and it looks like Cameron Young is going to be looking for a move as well, as Sondre Sorg in the background gets past the Williams for 6th place, but side by side Cameron Young on the inside for the Lesmos, and very easily makes that move. Of course, the hards versus the softs, there's really no contest there. Of course, fresh softs for Cameron Young, and he's going to be continuing to try and close this gap, as now Lewis Millam, of course, on the hards is going to get passed by Dylan Day on the mediums. And yeah, Lewis Millam isn't going to fight it too much, as he goes a little bit deep though, a little bit of contact, as it's going to allow Cameron Young now out of Ascari to get a very nice run and put himself in P2 now, and he's going to have slipstream at least. No DRS, of course, for the next 3 laps, given it was a safety car. But now I think we're going to be seeing Cameron Young take the lead of this race. Of course, he did start in very last place after not setting a time, as I think he crashed out in quali, but he's side by side with Dylan Day, side by side with the McLaren versus Red Bull, kind of like the real life Grand Prix, as on the inside goes Cameron Young and up into the lead of this race. Cameron Young on the softs as well, so you'd be expecting him to be able to start making ground and start looking at that final pit stop that inevitably he will have to do, as Dylan Day will really have to hang on as long as he can in the DRS range, with Lewis Millam, of course, as well, right up the back of him, still retaining that DRS, as yet already Dylan Day losing out 1.3 seconds to Cameron Young in the Red Bull. As you can see, Lewis Millam using DRS, but I don't think it's going to be of much use to him, as Matthew Alder actually using quite a bit of DRS already, as Tim Brusalian's dropping down to 5th. Of course, he's on the hards right now, so not really all that much he can do as he's sliding through Ascari. Luckily for his sake, he saved it, and he's going to be able to remain in 5th place. But Sondre Sorg now has got right up the back of him, and Tim Brusalian's kind of got a little bit of company behind him, as I'm sure he was hoping to get back past the Haas of Matthew Alder, as we see the fight for really what is 2nd place, because Cameron Young now takes the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. 1.8 seconds separates himself and Dylan Day now. Matthew Alder trying to hang on. He's lost DRS now from the car in front. Tim Brusalian's has also lost DRS from Matthew Alder, as Sondre Sorg is going to be right at the back of him. Honda engine, certainly, I think it's probably the 2nd quickest engine on the grid, or at least I would assume that, as in the slipstream of the Mercedes, but not able to close up quite enough. So 3.3 seconds, so he's gapped Dylan Day now to the point where his penalty won't matter, but of course that final pit stop certainly still matters, so he's gonna still have to keep putting in the laps, keep pumping in fastest laps really, as well as a DNF from Tim Brusalian's as a full safety car. Once again, you can see Tim Brusalian's car at the exit, so the German is out of the Italian Grand Prix, unfortunately, as Ascari claims another victim. And into the pit lane now for Cameron Young. You kind of expected this is quite a few people now also going into the pit lane, I would assume for a fresh set of soft tyres. As yep, on go the soft tyres for, you can see, Lewis Millam. On go the soft tyres for Matthew Alder as well. Edward Hart gets himself a set of soft tyres. So, spells a little bit of trouble for the top 5 now, who are going to be leading the race. Dylan Day, interestingly, did not take the opportunity to pit. He's going to stay out on his mediums. But with the amount of pace Cameron Young just had on fresh softs compared to fresh mediums, the mediums now being used, I think this is going to be a little bit easier for Cameron Young as long as he can hold off Lewis Millam behind him. Yeah, unfortunate, Tim. But would you want to join the commentary, though, as you're in the stream now? Because I would like a bit of company. I know it's unfortunate you crashed, but if you would join me, that would be nice. For the last few years, of course, the safety car will be fairly easy. Up to you though, Tim. Of course. Oh, nice. Don't think that would make a difference. Yeah. So there we go. So you just joined that there, Tim. And there you go. Hello.
Good evening, Mr. Harrison.
And to you, Mr. Bruce Davies. Or Bruce Davies, as you can be called sometimes, so we won't talk about that. Yeah. Of course, you crashed at the exit of Ascari. I didn't actually catch it on stream, but I did see the aftermath as you were in the middle of the track, so I guess... do you want to just give a little comment on the spin?
Well, I was struggling with the setup. Through Ascari, I already lost it, I think, on the right-hander. But then I saved my car, but then it was a bit too much and I came on the curb. And on the sausage curb on top of it, and then I completely spun. Not avoidable.
Yeah, unfortunate. I think the safety car is going to be in this lap. As yet into the pit lane, so it is up to Dylan Day now when he wants to go, and it looks like he's gone now as Sundar Sorag is going to be following in the slipstream. I'm sure of him right now, as Jared Fosbury also getting the slipstream, as they're all slipstreaming each other. You can see everyone moving left and right to stay with the slipstream train, as Dylan Day is going to continue to lead this race. Cameron Young on the inside in the Red Bull, of course, getting the move on Lewis Millam, I think, or maybe defending from Lewis Millam actually, as now he's looking at a move on Lordy. Of course, Lordy staying out on the mediums. All these medium runners really are going to find themselves going backwards more than forwards, as side by side on the softs as well. I'm sure Cameron Young should be able to make this move, as on the outside now for turn 5, and he's going to be able to make the move. And now that's Lordy is under threat from Lewis Millam, who goes through, and also Matthew Alder, who's going to be on the inside for Lesmo 2. A little bit tricky, very tight between the two of them, but he makes it work as Matthew Alder up into P6 now, as we'll watch Jared Fosbury, as actually he's not really under threat right now of Cameron Young, so Yeah, he will be continuing like this. Is actually his Cameron got damage, I think. I think he does the left end plate slightly, as he pulls to the right hand side as a few people go through. That's Matthew Older and Lewis Millam, yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate for Cameron.
Yeah, Dylan Day, well, actually he's going to be pinning now. Cameron Young, so obviously the wing damage, too much for him to continue.
Edward just passed Lodi on the straight with the DRS, or ERS, better said.
Yes, of course, that being a medium runner, as we can see now as well for podium place. Lewis Millam trying to get back into the podium places, as on the inside, the softs versus the mediums, and of course the mediums are a little used as well on Jared Fosbury's car, so Jared Fosbury loses out, and he's out of the podium places, and now Lewis is going to be looking for really the fight for the lead, as Sandra Sorg and Dylan Day find themselves fighting for it right now, as of course no DRS in activation yet, but he's going to have a little bit of slipstream. He's sticking within the DRS range once it does become available as well, so Sandra Sorg doing what he needs to do right now, and if he can keep like this and the soft ferns don't catch up too quickly, I think he could be looking at quite a nice podium.
I think Leggy will go on for the win, because they're both on old mediums, and he was having the whole race some good pace. I wasn't able to go with the setup, because I was struggling the whole time, losing the back end through Lesmo and other corners, and yeah, just sad, but I think he is going to be winning today.
Yeah, it's now DRS enabled. Of course, they won't have it for this straight, so Lewis won't be able to gain a little bit of an advantage. Now Jared Fosbury is falling back into the clutches of Matthew Older, who's going to be looking for a move, I'm sure, in a few moments, as of course the softs versus the mediums once again. But Lewis Millam now looking around the outside of Sandra Sorg. The two AlphaTauris go side by side, and it looks like Sandra Sorg is now going to be the next victim of Lewis Millam, of course, on those softs. As Lewis Millam actually gets a time penalty though, so that shakes it up a little bit. As of course he's going to have to make the move on Dylan Day, but also gap him by 3 seconds. He will probably be able to do it, but it just adds that little bit extra pressure.
I think Edward crashed. Yeah, Lesmos? No. Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, it would be the Lesmos, yeah. As down to 10th for him. As he spins again, actually.
Yeah.
As a bit of a reset to track. No one else would have saw that though. As Jared Fosbury now just got past, you would assume by Matthew Older. He's right up the back of Matthew Older's gearbox. You can see there as he's trying to get a better exit now as he goes through and approaches the start finish straight, as he's going to be going on the inside, so he's going to open up the DRS flap as well, and it's going to be a fairly easy move in the end, as he goes through and promotes himself back up into P4. So maybe a little bit of a fight between Jared Fosbury and Matthew Older here, as now Lewis Millam is going to be looking for a move on Dylan Day, but he's not going to be able to make it going through the second chicane. As Cameron Young now sets the fastest lap, of course, just beating his previous fastest lap.
As Jared Fosbury nearly lost the place to Matthew again into the first chicane.
Is that Lordy? Oh. Looks like Lordy may have made a bit of a mistake, as he loses 2 positions there to Rocco and Greenwood as well.
As Leggy has already DRS. Oh! He nearly lost it into the Ascari, but he saved his car pretty well. No damage for him, but again, the 1 second window he needs to break.
Yeah, and Jared Fosbury just there getting passed once again by Matthew Older, and looks like Lordy's actually trying to make a move back, as he does on the mediums. Despite the mediums, he still is able to make moves on the soft runners and puts himself back up into 7th place, as he did just lose out 2 positions there to both of these guys. So he's trying to make his way back up the few positions he lost, at least. As Jared Fosbury late braking into turn 1, trying to gain on Matthew Older. We can see, of course, I don't think he's going to be quite close enough right now to be making a move in the second chicane, although he will be closing, and he certainly does have the better engine anyway. Of course, the Ferrari engine definitely not the best, or I don't think it's the best anyway. Performance patch may have changed that a little bit. Might be second worst, but regardless, Matthew Walder holds on to P4 for now, and same with Dylan Day, who's still leading this race over Lewis Millam. And of course Lewis will have to make a move, but once he does, he's going to have to gap him by 3 seconds. So
I think the gapping will be no problem for him, but I think getting the overtake done and breaking DRS would be the trickiest thing for him to do. Because the mediums from with Chaos, I don't know, will really fall even more off, and he with his fresh softs will also fall off.
Yeah, and here comes Lewis Millam as well. He's in the DRS. He's actually a virtual safety car. That's why he backed out. So is that for that's for time, or maybe Del Kelleher getting involved in that as well, as he was going slowly there in the Lesmos, as Lordy is going to take it as an opportunity to pit. Although it's going to drop him out of the points behind Cameron Young. Oh no, Cameron Young's also going to pit, so he's going to stay 10th. And this is also going to be interesting, depending on the virtual safety car ends. Of course, it's a little bit of fresh air, breath of fresh air for Dylan Day, as he is able to lead this race for a little bit longer over what is really an inevitable overtake from Lewis Millam that will be happening very shortly, as of course the virtual safety car just halting his progress a little bit, which also helps out Dylan Day to stick in that 3-second window when Lewis Millam inevitably does make this overtake. And it's also allowed Sondre Sorag, I should say, to catch up a little bit as well, as he's back in the DRS range of Lewis Millam.
Maybe Sondre could possibly pass Dylan as well. But I think Lewis will made a long take now for the lead.
Yep, he's in the DRS range. Certainly he's going to open up that DRS flap, as side by side between the two. Dylan Day may be fighting this back, of course, because the lead of this race, it doesn't look like he'll be getting it back anytime soon, as Matthew Walder. Now the two teammates going side by side as Matthew Walder goes through, of course, on the softs. So probably Sondre not making it too hard, especially when they are teammates, as now Jared Fosbury is putting pressure on Sondre Sorg as well, as he's in the slipstream. He's using ERS as well. He's looking down the inside, but he's not quite close enough, and he's going to have to settle for 5th right now, as Sondre Sorg slipping over the curb, though. He's right on the gravel as well, as Jared Fosbury certainly is going to go through. Doesn't look like he's going to lose out any more positions in the near future, as no one else is really quite close, but a little bit of a mistake from Sondre skipping over the curb. As of course Lewis Millam,
near blocked the DRS, but Dylan is investing his DRS, everything he has, to stay in the 1 second window, because if he drops off, then it's over for him.
Would have to agree with you there. Of course, he will have DRS for the next straight at least, as he's just about still in DRS range. In terms of ERS, it looks fairly similar, as you can see Lewis Millam desperately trying to break the DRS, using a lot of ERS. It doesn't look like Dylan Day's using any, or as much at least. He's kind of deploying it in small installments, as he's going to close up a few tenths on that previous straight, but it doesn't look like all that much, as they go through turns 1 and 2, as Matthew Walder a little bit off, so it doesn't look like he'll be able to make any inroads on the top 2. Of course, the car will be holding him back in that sense, as Dylan Day still in the DRS range, but going through the Lesmos certainly is going to be losing that.
Maybe we're gonna see a fight between the two biggest ballers in this league, in this lap or next lap, between Sondre and Jared, possibly, if Sondre stays in the DRS window of Jared.
Yeah, could do, as Sondre is in the DRS ranges. Of course, he did lose it for a little after that mistake in the second chicane, but it seems at least that he has the pace advantage over the Alpine. As you can see for the lead, at least Dylan Day does lose out. That DRS is 1.5 seconds almost by the end of the straight, and starting, of course, lap 25 out of 27, so 3 laps left for Lewis Millam to gap him by just over a half a second, or a second and a half I should say. But Thunder Sorg now is closing on Jared Fosbury. He's in the slipstream of Jared Fosbury. DRS on Jared Fosbury as well. He's looking down the inside, side by side between the two of them, going through turn 1, as it looks like Jared Fosbury is actually backed out of that one. Didn't really look like he wanted to fight it all that much, and Thunder Sorg goes through and retakes P4 in this race. Of course, it looks like the best he's going to be able to do. But for how much longer though, actually? It looks like maybe Jared Fosbury... Yeah, Jared Fosbury trying a move once again, but he's not going to be able to do it, as the two Aston Martins also looking like they might end up fighting between themselves in a few laps maybe, although not too many laps left.
Yes, Dylan Day lost his 3-second window because of his mistake out of the first chicane. He touched the gravel down, lost his back end, but he saved his car out of the wall. But lost a lot of time.
Yeah, and of course out of that penalty range, so not really much more he can do. As I think Greenwood, as I was going to say that, or I said at least, that the Aston Martins may fight each other. Greenwood seems to have made a mistake in the second chicane, as I did see a bit of gravel on his tyres. So looks like he'll be settling for 9th place, or well 8th, because Fergus Wilson doesn't seem to be here, from what I can tell. As again, yep, Jared Fosbury going through fairly simply with DRS as Sondre Sorg pulls to the inside, but of course the straight line speed difference and the Alpine goes through. But Sondre Sorg though, a better exit out of the first chicane, side by side once again as they go through Curva Grande, still side by side. Sondre Sorg just behind, but he's going to be edging ahead, I'm sure, as through the second chicane now, as he's going to be on the outside for the second part, and he's going to have to back out there as a ghost there of Dale Kelleher, I guess. Maybe Timer Azim.
It's only picked up with physical time penalty, so the place to Jared is lost. As maybe Matthew could be a problem for Dylan Day, because we're entering the next to the last lap, and Matthew could make a move and then defend himself.
Yeah, and of course it's going to be very limited chances, so if he is going to make this move, he's going to have to take whatever opportunity presents itself, as through the final corner, of course, on the softs, he's got much more grip as well. In the slipstream, he's going to be opening up DRS. It's really his best overtaking opportunity right now, as he's going to be closing, he's going to be in the slipstream. He pulls to the left hand side of the track, side by side between the two. Matthew Older going around the outside, inside for turn 2, and he's going to be able to make that move. But is he going to be able to make it stick though? The McLaren certainly has more straight line speed, is in the slipstream now for Dylan Day. He's going to be looking to the outside, he's going to be trying to make this move once again, going through the second chicane. Still they fight away for second place as Matthew Older on the inside. He's going to be further ahead going into the corner, and he's going to be able to brake later and make that move stick for what is now second place.
Move still, and DRS ready to go, but I think it's over now for Dylan Day after this mistake he did out of last move 1.
You're looking a little bit too far away.
Yeah. As he just flies nearly to the back of Matthew.
Here we go then. Lewis Millam is going through Parabolica. He's done everything he had to do. Of course he pit under the final safety car for the soft tyres, and it's worked out for him as he's going to cross the line now. He's wiggling, he knows he's won, he's happy he's won. Of course that penalty didn't end up mattering as it crossed the line, and he's going to take the win, of course, and become the 3rd different winner of this season, and expect plenty more different winners this season, as Matthew Older is going to settle in for second place. Dylan Day, of course, is going to take the final podium place. Jared Fosbury in 4th, Sondre Sorg in 5th. Of course, even with that penalty, if he did get ahead of Jared, wouldn't have mattered, as Rocco Walsh is going to take P6, Edward Hart in 7th, Fergus Wilson, at least his AI is in 8th, so don't think that's going to be counting. As Greenwood in 9th and Lordy in 10th, so Cameron Young is still going in 11th, but this is probably going to be for 10th, so he's going to be able to pick up that fastest lap point as well. And then Dale Keller behind him in the Williams, so just waiting for these two to finish.
5 slots by Cameron.
As time... Oh, that means Sarmer's going to get a 20-second penalty. By no fault of his own, it's just the game being bad. Or I think that's what would happen. Or at least put himself at risk. I'm not really sure how the game is, but it's a stupid glitch, nonetheless. As across the line now for Dale Keller and the Williams. And driver of the day for Jared Fosbury.
Undeserved.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
I'm not sure who I'd give mine to. Of course, you didn't really get to spectate the race. Of course, you were also racing in it for at least the first half. But probably I would give it to either Lewis Millum or maybe Matthew or Dylan. To be honest, a few people deserve it for different reasons, I'd say. But regardless, so of course it's Lewis Millum who takes the win ahead of Matthew Alder and Dylan Day running out the podium. Jared Fosbury in 4th, Sondre in 5th, Rocco Walsh takes 6th, Edward Hart in 7th, Fergus Wilson's AI, which means he won't necessarily be taking any points today, in 8th, which makes Greenwood in 8th, Lordy in 9th and Cameron round out the top 10, and then Dale Keller in 11th, Tom Razim 12th, yourself of course a DNF unfortunately, and then Enrico and Ross Senham DNFing as well earlier in the race.
Well, for sure, I will come back stronger next week.
Yeah, hopefully.
But yeah, time will tell. We will see how it's gonna be with the setup next week. But yeah, that's for it for me now. Thanks for having me on comms.
Yeah, I won't be doing interviews either, so I'll be rounding it out now anyway. So that has been IRL FP here for what was round 3, of course, and a third different winner. 3 rounds, 3 winners here in FP, which is probably going to be the trend. Of course, Tim will definitely take the win next week. But yeah,
I'm not sure because of Cameron.
that's true as well. Cameron only taking 2 points. But yeah, that has been IRL FP, brought to you, of course, by myself, Kevin Harrison, and at least in the second half, Tim Bruce Sadens as well. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, and hopefully we'll see you next week, same time on Wednesday. Goodbye.